Hi, everybody.
Hello. Good morning.
How we doing?
Pretty good. We are cold and hot at the same time.
It's like a rush of heat. When's the mummy
Where
coming?
it has dripped on occasion this morning.
Oh wow! Right on me. Don't say a word. We'll all laugh together. Danny, come sit here. Into the waterfall of death. Actually, I read an article on Legionnaire's disease, and part of those are from faulty air conditioners. But mostly in Russia in the 80s. That doesn't look Russian-built.
It's either that
Toshiba.
or an alien up there.
Yeah, or that's the second act of an alien movie. Come, we have a seat for you.
Hi.
Whatever you do, don't look up to the water dripping. Ow! Hey, I can't stop staring at it now, waiting for it to drop. I was originally sitting here, and they said that the water has been dropping, so I sat over here. But then I felt
Because
guilty
you're the
about it.
Wicked Witch of the West,
now
you're gonna
I told
melt?
you. I just keep staring at it like it's not there. All right, good morning.
Hi, everybody.
Good talk.
How's it going?
We should get some more microphones up here. Is this purple one facing the wrong direction?
I think there's one facing to you and there's one facing to us.
For questions.
So, yeah, I think they're assuming we're going to ask them at some point. Starting with, how does it feel to be here at the London MCM Comic Con? Are you enjoying meeting fans here, taking part in stuff like this?
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah,
We
for
came
sure.
last year and had so much fun and met so many kind of amazing fans. And, I think you lose sight of like who the show reaches out to when all you do is shoot it. We shoot for 10 months out of the year. And coming last year, I think was really special because we got to meet so many fans from all over the world who the show really has an impact kind of on their lives, and them, inviting us into their homes for 185 episodes, and kind of the role the show plays in the family dynamic and watching it together. I think that was a really special thing for both of us.
Yeah. And also, it's interesting, too, because
You got it! All right, now we can
for
switch.
those who couldn't see... No, I'm okay. You're such a gentleman. For those of you who didn't see what just happened, we've been complaining about a drip of water in the ceiling, and now one just fell on me. I'm melting!
All part of my master plan.
So in Europe, I feel like the generations that watch us are a little bit different than in the U.S. I think we have a little bit of a more mature following in the U.S. versus here, which is a younger following. So it's interesting to see the difference in dynamic and the people that come to Comic-Con. There are lots of people that fly from different countries to come and see us, and I think the whole organization is so impressive. There was over 130,000 people last year in 2 days. It's just incredible. And to be able to, it's actually really difficult because people pay to be here and they fly in to see you, and you want to give everybody enough time to be like, hi, what's your name? What brings you here? And it's difficult when you have a whole line of people and they're kind of like, you got to go, otherwise you're not going to get through everybody who's, paid for a ticket. And yeah, I love it. I love meeting the fans face to face. It's the only opportunity we have is things like this. So.
As part of your characters on NCIS, how much do you get to input into the characters and the skills that they have?
Hold on.
The skills
How much do you input into the words of your character?
You mean dialogue-wise or character-wise?
Character-wise, dialogue-wise.
Well,
Either. I mean, for example, you have an episode where you go undercover dancing, which
Right.
is a personal skill of yours that you
Yeah.
managed to introduce.
Did you have input on that?
It just fell on my nose.
This is so great. This is like the best interview ever. Just the whole time is just you waiting to say something like interesting, and then just water dripping in your head. Did you have input? Did you ask for that?
No.
Dancing?
No. I didn't ask for that. Actually, sometimes the writer's like, what do you think you would like to do? Actually, our showrunner sent us an email saying, like, if there's anything that you guys would like to do in the next season that you haven't done already. I can never think of anything. I'm just always happy when they add little fun things to do, such as the dancing. So yes, it was a skill that I already had. So not in salsa dancing, no. But yeah, it was just really fun to do. It was actually supposed to be done earlier in the season, but because I was pregnant, I wasn't able to do it, and I thought that they would just have another character do it. So I was really sad that I might not be able to
Have
get to
another
dance.
character dance?
Yeah, They could have put Nell in because she's
Oh, yeah.
actually also a dancer. She has a dance background as well. I mean, they could have had anybody else in that role.
Anybody but me.
You kind of did dance in that episode
Not
too.
really. I kind of flopped around like a Muppet. I don't know if that's dancing as much as it's just graceful flopping.
Eric has one signature go-to move.
That move is good, though. As far as input goes, I think that, part of it is that after 185 episodes, they have an idea of what our strengths are.
Yeah.
And so I think you've seen the evolution of the banter between, Kenzie and Deeks. They definitely write to the comedic elements that we bring to the show. And they're also very open about finding things in the moment, which is that you do one per scripted, as dialogue written, and then you can try stuff. And some of my favorite kind of reactions and moments in the show are moments in which it wasn't on the page. One of my favorite scenes still, forever, is after Deeks is tortured and he's going through a period where he's not able to sleep for weeks, and she comes over with Chinese food, and it's this great scene that they played in a 2-shot where there's a bunch of like really honest, natural improvisation, and it ended up being one of my favorite scenes. Because you find moments that aren't prepared for, and her reactions, she's so good at reacting to those moments that,
Especially when he's off camera and says things that he knows will get a reaction off of me, which are unsayable at this time.
yeah.
But here's the cool thing too, is because I think that Eric and I have created a certain dynamic over the last 7 years. Sometimes they'll leave because what it is, for those who don't know, it's a camera on him, a camera on me, and it's behind us and everything. But when you have certain moments like this one that he's talking about, or during the proposal when Kenzie's in the wheelchair, sometimes you kind of have to have a camera on both of us simultaneously, because the things that you get in the moment are going to be different every single take. One might take you to a more emotional place, a quieter place, whatever it is. And so to get the matching reaction from the other person, you have to ensure that there's a camera on both of you. Otherwise, you have sort of mismatched takes between us. And so, we always know when there's a camera either on both of us or at the same time on each one of us. We always know that that's a moment that him and I get to play more around with, because it's going to cut nicely in editing whenever they do that. So, and about the input too, there's that time where Kenzie's in recovery in season 8. And, she can't walk, and she's going through times where she's depressed, sad, angry, but it's all very negative feelings. And so between us and the director, we kind of felt like we needed a relief from that, something a little bit sweeter between them to show the sort of roller coaster that it is to recover from something like what she was going through. And so we asked our Scott Gemmell, who's our showrunner and one of our writers, and he wrote my whole arc throughout the recovery, and we said, hey, do you think we can get something a little sweet? And so literally over lunchtime he wrote a scene, and we shot it that day. And it just fits so beautifully. And for those who've watched it, it's the scene where they wake up in the hospital, and she's like, I don't want to be here anymore, and he's like, I know, but you have to. And it's just a sweet moment before everything crashes again. And that was written on the day and shot literally a few hours after he wrote it. So there is a degree of input on our part with what happens. And I think the trust that the writers and showrunners show in us, we all know the characters so well now, so I think it's important to have a dialogue with what happens.
That's really a tribute too to, we have a first AD, this guy Eric Pott, who's so good. One of our executive producers, JPK, was directing that episode. Scott Gemmell is our showrunner and also the writer for these whole sequences. Having that discussion, saying, here's our fear, we don't have a moment to emotionally connect to the beauty of this. Obviously it's this tumultuous recovery, but we need a moment of not brevity, but a reason to fight for these two. And then to go off and do that over a lunch, come back and trust to shoot it, is remarkable, especially on a show that's such a well-oiled machine that, we're in season 8. For them to go, all right, let's adapt and go try this I don't know if I've ever been a part of a project that was able to kind of on the fly make those kind of changes, which is amazing, and a tribute to those guys, to Gemmell and JPK and Eric Pott.
What is your acting technique? Because you said about repetition, and I was thinking of Meisner, how you your banter and stuff. What do you do? What's your acting technique, and how do you apply it to your characters?
I can tell you that I studied something specific, but I can also tell you that regardless of what that specific thing is, what I learned most is I don't need a technique unless I need help for any reason in the moment, because if you listen, if you act and react, you're going to be in the moment and be in the reality of it, regardless of what the technique is that you've learned or not learned. Doesn't matter if you come from a Shakespeare background or not. If I'm listening genuinely to what he's saying to me in the scene and I react appropriately, you have a real moment. So since we're playing real human beings in, supposedly real situations, that's all we can do.